rage.
Sketch comedy just got a whole lot darker.
We've got reason to believe your husband's guilty of not acting black. He's been buying organic groceries and he hasn't had KFC in months.
Black Comedy starts Wednesday, November 5, ABC.
Tonight on ABC, Doctor Who, then the season final of The Code, Mad Dogs, and later a story of forgiveness and survival, Once My Mother.
And on ABC2, River Monsters. Then a group of New York City school kids venture into the world of dance in Mad Hot Ballroom, and later Louis Theroux.
Tomorrow on Q&A, politics on a global stage. He's the Australian lawyer who tackles the world's most challenging cases. She's the biographer of a political giant. He's the former soldier who shares responsibility for our troops in Iraq. And she wants Australian medical teams deployed against Ebola. Together, they join an ad man turned magazine editor. Q&A, tomorrow on ABC. Tuesday,
Take what you can get.
the FIFO life can be a fickle life.
Time to come home, I think.
With unprecedented access, unearth the highs and lows,
Does nothing for the community.
the boom or bust.
There wasn't anything else we could do to turn it around.
Flying Miners, Tuesday 8:35 on ABC.
November 1st, 1914. Thousands of Anzac troops set sail for war, many never to return. Now, 100 years on, ABC takes you to the West Australian port of Albany for a once-in-a-lifetime commemoration. From the Troop March to the commemorative service, we bring you uninterrupted live coverage. The centenary of Anzac Albany commemoration, Saturday from 12 on ABC. Tonight on ABC, Doctor Who, then the season final of The Code, Mad Dogs, and later a story of forgiveness and survival, Once My Mother.
And on ABC2, River Monsters. Then a group of New York City school kids venture into the world of dance in Mad Hot Ballroom, and later Louis Theroux.
Now, we'd like to welcome our viewers on ABC TV in the eastern states who are joining us now. Good morning. You're watching Weekend Breakfast.
That's right. Coming up on our show, President Obama urges Americans to focus on the facts, not fear, surrounding Ebola. We'll have the very latest from our correspondent in New York.
And then the promising new treatment offering hope to victims of spinal cord paralysis.
And later, a festival with a difference. Darwin locals turn their old fridges into works of art.
The number of people infected with the Ebola outbreak has risen above 10,000, with the mortality rate now approaching 50%. The latest figures from the World Health Organization confirm Liberia is at the centre of the outbreak. In the United States, a debate is underway over new mandatory quarantine measures for health workers returning from Africa. Earlier, I spoke to our North America correspondent Lisa Miller in New York.
Startling figures from the World Health Organization, Eliza. We now know that the number of Ebola cases around the world, mostly in West Africa, has exceeded that 10,000 mark. And we're also seeing that the number of deaths stands at around 4,922. So that means that this particular outbreak of Ebola has a 50% fatality rate. And we're also learning that the main country, the country that has been impacted the most by Ebola, is Liberia. But of course, we've seen terrible impacts as well in Guinea and Sierra Leone. And it is Guinea where we've seen this latest case here in America, the case of Dr. Craig Spencer.
And of course, Lisa, this case is causing all sorts of havoc, it seems. Another US state has announced strict quarantine for returning health workers. Is it a united front around these new rules?
No, there is quite a gap, in fact, anything but united, because what we had here in New York, for starters, we had the New Jersey governor and the New York governor announcing late yesterday that they were going to force anyone who had been in contact with Ebola patients in West Africa to go into a mandatory 21 days quarantine. At the moment, people have their fever tested and then they look after themselves and check their temperature. But now they're saying any workers, doctors, nurses who come back into New York and New Jersey, they must go into a 21-day quarantine. The Illinois governor in Chicago has now said that his state is going to follow suit. But the health authorities are saying it's completely over the top and it's not necessary, and the federal regulations that ensure that people just self-monitor is perfectly acceptable. And of course you've then got Bill de Blasio, the New York mayor, who was not told about the announcement by his state's governor, and he was left out of the loop. You've got to remember, Eliza, we've got the midterm elections in a couple of weeks. This is a very political environment also that's going on here. You've got the politicians who are desperately trying to keep people at ease and make sure there's not the anxiety and fear. And then you've got the health authorities who are saying, well, look, you've got to remember it is very, very difficult to contract Ebola. And in fact, the health authorities just in the last few moments have announced that they believe they have been in contact with absolutely everyone that Dr. Craig Spencer might have been in contact with in those few days that he was out and about here in Manhattan before he developed that fever and checked into hospital.
So what's the President Barack Obama doing to try to calm that fear and confusion?
Well, he used his Saturday morning radio address, which is also broadcast on the web, to praise New Yorkers as to how they had dealt with this situation over the last 48 hours, but also to, again, try and calm fears, to make people aware that it is very difficult to catch Ebola and that the government and health authorities are doing everything they need to do. But let's have a listen to the President.
They have to be guided by the facts, not fear. Yesterday, New Yorkers showed us the way. They did what they do every day, jumping on buses, riding the subway, crowding in elevators, heading into work, gathering in parks. That spirit, that determination to carry on, is part of what makes New York one of the great cities in the world.